the last time we were at the top of this hill, we'd built the outline of this castle monument, inspired by a real-world castle. Well, I'm sure you'll agree, it's very bare bones looking, and today is the day that we are going to spice it up and turn what is a empty, quite boring area into something far more appealing. Let's get to it. This is Foundation, and I am Lord Bara. What I'm going to do is lean heavily into the Stone Gate mod. That particular mod has a plethora of assets to use. I'm obviously going to use fantasy decorations and a few other mods as well, but mostly it's going to be the Stone Gate mod. Well, we've got a basic design, but let's just lay out some idea about how the interior space of this might actually be used. So I'm going to use some brushes and just give you an idea about what I'm thinking about. Now, the blue is obviously the path where the villagers will walk, and at the back of the compound I've boxed in green. I want that to be a building that the villagers are encouraged to go to. Now, currently the castle monument itself in vanilla doesn't really have the option to for your soldiers to go and visit particular types of buildings. The monument that does do this the best in the vanilla version 1.9 is the monastery. So I'm going to use some monastery buildings to encourage visitors to come and use this space. Otherwise it'll just end up a ghost town, and it'll look nice, but it won't be alive, it won't feel alive, no one will actually use it. So I'm going to add a little bit more hospitium, and you can never have too much in hospitium. And what that'll do is visitors will be encouraged to come up to this space just to use it, to fulfill their hospitium needs. Yes, we'll also get some monks, but I don't consider that a problem. It'll just add to the foot traffic, and that road that I drew out initially in blue will become a used path, and it'll feel far more alive, far more engaging to look at. I'm trying to find some hospitium assets that kind of blend with the castle assets. It's not so easy, mainly because the roofs are a different colour, but I feel like this is a halfway house. And I'm placing the entrances to the hospitiums there at the end of the compound, so that obviously the villagers will have to walk there via the path that I'm going to create for them. Or rather, they will create the path for me, won't they? But I'm going to guide them through that. When it comes to the actual Stone Gate assets themselves, you can select this building to perform absolutely every single function that's in the game. So you could have this entire thing just be one enormous bakery if you wanted to. I don't mind that, but I feel like it's a little bit cheaty, and I don't want to use that just in case it also breaks my economy somehow. So suddenly I've got a huge bakery on the hill and all of my bakers are going there, or all of the wheat is being trafficked there. I don't really want that. So all I'm going to do is just have all of these assets that I'm placing down as treasury, and some of them won't even have internal access, but I don't really mind because I've got more than enough treasury as it stands. In fact, it's not a bad thing to point out that if you do want to just build large monuments or large structures, go for the treasury function, because for the price of the upkeep of the building, you're not going to get anything out of using a different function. For example, if this was all the castle training grounds, it wouldn't make any difference. But at least the treasury will just expand the amount of gold that I'm allowed to hold in the town. Yeah, there are so many different options that you can have, so many different assets, and if you just click and drop some pieces down, you'll be able to see all of the different types, and they kind of cycle through. You don't always get the one you want, but if you keep clicking, eventually you'll get to the one that you want, and you can just play around with them. Some of them you can change the roofs. I'm not quite sure what those black triangles are, but when they get built, they'll disappear, so I don't know what that's about. As you can see, what I want to do is have the silhouette look far more like crenellations across the tops of the walls. Although I feel like I achieve that in most parts, because of the uneven terrain, the game won't allow me to make all of the tops of the buildings level with each other. For those of you out there who are irritated by that, believe me, I am too. For those of you out there who are bothered by that, like I am, it's good to remember that perfection can be the enemy of good or finished. So I'm going to suppress my irritation and just carry on regardless of whether or not things are perfectly lined up. And in some respects, it's better like that anyway, because it feels more organic. It feels more believable. At least that's what I'm telling myself. So as I'm building, I'm imagining that the actual castle itself has 3 or 4 functions. The first one is the gatehouse area, which would act as a reception area. And you're going to have there are 2 sides to that, as you can see. One of them's got a large round tower, and the other one is a small courtyard as well itself. I'm going to make both of those courtyards, and one side is going to be for visitors to be processed, if you like, and the other side will be a station house for soldiers, where they'll store some weapons and perhaps do a little bit of training or guarding. As you move through the gatehouse section, you get to the curving road, and then on your right you'll see the white tents. That is a large training area, not really for public use, so that would just be something where villagers will pass by on the way to the square main castle building, or the keep, which is centrally located within the larger complex itself. And then as you pass by the keep, you'll get to this compound here at the back, which is also its own independent thing, and that can be used for storage of larger goods, perhaps weapons. Maybe we've got a ballista here, or a trebuchet, or something like that. So the castle itself is containing many functions that happen inside it. The final piece of the puzzle, the 4th element, if you like, is storage. You are probably aware that in medieval times, castles were used as a form of defense and also a form of storage. So if you were being attacked, you would take your grain or livestock, goods, whatever it was, cart it all the way up to the castle and lock yourself inside with your villagers, so that you could wait out the whatever danger it was. And that large round tower that's centrally located is, in my mind, is the storage room, the storage house where grain and whatever else it was would be stored inside and sheltered. And just for fun, I'm imagining that villagers will be staying in the hospitium that's along the outer wall there at the back of the compound as well. So that's kind of doubling up as another function for me. Basically, what I'm trying to do is think through what would be the purpose of the castle. Why would people be coming here? What would they be using it for? And I hope that I'm coming some way, at least, to making that seem fairly plausible. It would be easy just to drop down a castle on top of a hill here and say, job done, but I wanted it to feel more believable. Well, I'll stop talking now. I know you've been waiting for the montage anyway, so here we go. Now, if I was a soldier and I was living in the town, or a villager living in the town of Bara, I'd have to walk all the way up this long winding path up the hill in order to get to the castle and hopefully be intimidated by the imposing structure before me. What do you think? That looks better, right? That looks better now. It's all got a far more interesting silhouette and outline. I think it sits far more confidently on top of the hill now. Please let me know what you think. But I'll just say, if you have been, thank you for watching and thank you for listening. This has been Foundation, and until next time, I've been Lord Bara.